to the channel. This time around we are going to be doing a little bit of a different video. This is going to be Landscape Design 101, drawing your own design. So we're going to be using this in a second. We'll talk a bit more in detail as to what this is and what it can do for you guys and all that good stuff. So you saw a little bit of the preview. This is because I'm going to show you one of the designs that I did according to this specific preview. But anyways, let's get to the actual stuff that you guys are here for. Let's do it.
Alright, so over here I'm just showing what are potentially things that we can use. It doesn't mean that we're going to need all of this, but some of this can be useful. We're going to put it to the side. We are not going to really be using all this stuff. We're only going to be using a paper, a pencil, and a ruler, and that's kind of it. Some of the steps are useful, but we're going to put it to the side. But the idea would be that you create a design that potentially could look like this. Now, this is a professionally designed with a CAD program, which is a good chance that you don't have this, especially if you're doing a small session in front of your house. So let's put it to the side and let's bring in a notebook. Now, this is the notebook that I like to use to take my notes, do some sketches here and there. Maybe you have one of these ones, maybe you don't, but that's okay. These are going to be the things that you're going to need. Now, this is the scale that you would want to get. It's going to be an engineer scale. Now, this is me going to an Office Depot. Kind of look for this. It's about a little bit more than $6. And as I mentioned, it is an engineer rule. That's going to allow you to do what we're about to do in a little bit as far as what this goes. So you have your ruler, 3 things. You have your pencil, mechanical pencil if you want. You have a notebook, and you have your ruler. Okay. So now, where are we going to be doing this? Are we doing the front, or doing the back, or doing the sides? You know, whatever it is that you're doing, you know, make sure that you have enough space. For the purposes of having enough space, I also would recommend to use a different type of notebook, and it's one that's a little bigger. We're going to talk about it in a second. Now, here, this ruler is a scale ruler, and what this does is that it's going to tell you how much space you're going to be using. Scale to feet. Here is a 10 equals 1 inch equals 10 feet, a 20, 30, 40. You have your 40, your 50, and your 60. Now, you're probably only going to use the 10 foot, so don't worry about that. But it is very useful in case you use it in other projects. So another thing aside from these things that would also be useful is having a specific paper that is going to help you with this. This is a little bit fancier. If you have it, great. If you don't worry about it. But this is a square type of page. It's good because it's going to be easier for you. If you have it, if you can get it, potentially at another, an Office Depot. I don't know if Walmart has it, but there's a good chance that they do. So let's say that you do, okay? We're not going to copy this design. This is just for me to show you that, yes, I know what I'm talking about. But, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to do this. Okay, so let's get started with that. Let's have an idea. And this is obviously nice, something that you guys can use just to follow along if you are thinking of designing your own space. So we're only going to do a small section, what would be the front of the house. So we're going to use some of this points to create this. All right, we're going to do roughly 30 feet. Let's think of doing the front yard. Why not, right? So let's do the front yard. So we are going to be doing some measurements here. You're going to be using some of the corners, maybe 30 feet or so. Let's pretend that this is line is going to be your house. So this is the front of the house. Just kind of mark it up here and there. You put in the house. And then I'm going to use 2 fancy pens. You want the pencil? Don't worry about it. If you want to use it, fine. Don't worry about that part. Any mechanical pencil will do, or even just a pencil. In this case, I have it, so why not use it, right? Why not? Not to brag, just saying. Anyways, let's get back to what I was saying earlier. I'm going to be putting the house. This is the house. Gives you an idea. And here's what the point of this is. Say that you are designing this and you are the owner of the house, right? And you need help. Maybe your friends, maybe somebody else is going to come over and help you out. With this, you're going to be able to have it and show it to them. Hey, this is the idea as to what I want. All right, your house is, say, 30 feet from your house, the front of your house to the sidewalk is 30 feet of space. Obviously, it's going to depend on where you are. So for now, we're just going to leave it at that 30 feet. In the front, we have about, say, 50 feet, 40 feet, whatever it is. But that's going to be our area where we are going to be designing. So let's mark it up real quick, kind of where we have it. This may be like the driveway on one side, and maybe this is the same section where we're going to have our entrance of the house and that type of thing. I don't know what you have in the front, but let's say that it is. Let's go with that. Right here is our section where we're going to be working in for the design. Pretend it's the front yard. Sure, why not? Okay. Now, what do we want with this, right? What do we want to do with this? Is it complex, too complex, not complex? What do we want, right? Now, to make it simple, let's say that right here when I'm marking, that right there, we have about 20 feet or so where it's going to be the entrance of a house, and we have like an entrance, maybe say a little section of a sidewalk for the entrance of the house. All right, we're going to have that right there. Let's mark it up real quick. This is the house right there. Let's say the sidewalk is, I don't know, 5 feet or so, depending on where it is. If this is an existing area and you're not taking to rip it out, it's a good chance it's between 4 and 5 feet. But, if you are going to rip it out, then sure, why not? 5 feet, more space. That way you can get in, okay? So we have this. Here's a sidewalk right here. Let me put it real quick, a little bit of scribble. That way you know what you're doing as far as here goes, right? Right here. This is where we're going to work. This is our space. Okay, so in this section, let's say that you want to do a few things here, right? You want to do some grass, you want to do a few things here, rocks, shrubs, that type of thing. But one thing, let's go for the sake of this example, is that your slope is positive and it's running away from your house. You don't have to worry about that. Now, I do recommend highly that water runs away from your foundation. Generally, I like to leave about 3 or so feet of space, at least me in this area where I'm at. But depending on the type of house that you have, you may not do as much, and there's certain areas where your foundations are not as deep as other places. So if that's the case, maybe not worry too much about it, but obviously think about that when you are doing your design. Okay, so I'm gonna leave 3 feet right here, and this is gonna be helpful because I'm using my scale right now, right? 3 or so feet, 3, maybe 4. One of the things that I like to do is give a good amount of curve. You can definitely do lines, and if you're into that, that's a-okay with me. But for this idea, just tips and so forth, I'm gonna have some curves. All right, I'm gonna have some curves, some space between the house. Potentially I'm gonna be putting there some rock, maybe like a bigger stone. That way, if there's any water there, it can go away from the house. Okay, let's leave it there. Right there, we're gonna be putting some sod, because you want some green stuff, so why not, right? I don't want to do it square, so let's give it some space. Let's do about 20 or so feet of space here. All right, we'll do 10 feet. 10 feet, that's 20 feet. We mark here our point. We graph, same kind of follow that idea, and then from this point on, we are going to be doing about 40 or so feet, maybe 50. So that's going to be our space of sod. Okay, so we're going to mark it there. That's our ideas, and then we're going to start roughly doing this. Now keep in mind that everything I'm doing right now is rough, right? It's going to be rough. I'm doing with a pencil for that reason. Later on, I'm going to take out a marker, a pen type of thing, potentially even colored pencils or markers, and kind of fill it in a little bit better. But I'm going to be putting some curves right now, again, to give it some interest. If you don't like those, that's okay. You don't have to do this. But for this one, I'm going to be putting some curves. This is our sod / grass. Different types of grasses around the country, so you may have to look into that, what is best for your area. But for now, let's leave it as such. I don't want to put in specific names, but for now, I'm gonna leave it there. So let's say that we want a tree in this section. Generally, I like to leave about 10 or so feet depending on the type of tree. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is the size of the canopy. How big you want this tree to be. Is this an evergreen? Is this a deciduous? If it is, say, a deciduous, a lot of them tend to grow pretty big in the canopy, the top portion of it. It can be between 40, 50, and even larger than that. And the same goes for height. Now, the reason why to leave them enough space is so that when they do grow big, they don't have a lot of leaves falling on top of your roof, aka your gutters, and that creates more work for you. So, there is that, and also roots. So a bit of both, right? I like to leave it about 10 minimum, but in this case we're gonna do a little more. Let's say that we do a maple. Why not, right? Let's go do a maple. Oh, or I mean, it could be whatever you want. An oak, maybe an elm, even cottonwoods, if you guys are into those. I'm not saying what you should and shouldn't do. I'm just putting things out there. Potentially, trees that would work, that would give you shade, that would grow large, that type of thing. I don't know. Maybe you may want to do a tree house. Probably not in the front, but just putting it out there. Anyhow, over here, I'm going to be putting maybe, say, an accent boulder, an area where we're going to have some perennials and potentially mulch. Now, I want to give it this a little bit of interest. So what I would like to do with this area is maybe have a bit of a berm, a small berm, maybe, I don't know, between 3 and 6 inches, maybe a bit more than that. But again, just to kind of elevate the space and have some perennials. Again, similar to shrubs and trees, perennials are going to be one of those things that you are going to want to go with the nurseries that are in your area. Okay, I'm putting a few different perennials. I don't know, 10, 12, 14. It's really up to you how much space you have. In this case, I'm just going to be putting a few, say 14, right? It's a little full, yes, but I'm going to be able to put different kinds, different colors there. All right, up to you. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 7, 8, 12. Let's make it an even number. Let's do 14 here, and here it goes. 14 of them right there. And this is just in case I'm using this to give it to somebody else. Maybe even, say, my spouse, right? If you happen to be the owner, say a lady, you're taking care of this, and you gotta give it to your husband because your husband's like, you know what? You didn't design it, and I'll take care of that stuff outside, blah, blah, blah. Do it this way. That way he knows what you are wanting to do. And the same goes if it's vice versa, right? The husband is the one doing it, and he has some friends over, whatever. Just ideas right here, right? All right, I'm putting in some ornamental grasses, and I'm doing a few lines here, again, just to kind of differentiate one from the other, right? A few ornamental grasses, just different types out there. Some that are going to be look more like oats, some smaller, some a little bit bigger, some that look more like a fountain type of thing. There's many out there, and if you don't like that, that's okay. You can put something else in its place. If you want to put some roses, if you want to put maybe something that gives you even cherries potentially, you could do that as well. But for now, I'm going to put some of those next to the driveway. A few of them, say 4 or 5, whatever it can fit in that space. Just kind of going with that for now. All right, this is going to be my edging right there. That way you guys know what that is. And so in the top portion, we are going to be putting a few different types of shrubs. Now, depending on what you have there, you may even have some windows. Maybe a window is centered, and you may want to have something bigger on the sides. So when they do grow big, they don't interfere with your view. However, you may also want to put something big there, so if there's cars driving on that side of the road, they're not seeing what's going on directly inside. So there's a few different ways you can do this, right? So maybe on the sides we can have something that's going to grow a little bit bigger, say like a lilac, and then maybe in the middle something smaller, something that can potentially grow between 2 and say 4 feet, right? Just kind of give an idea. So something smaller, I'm going back to roses. A lot of people like those kind of shrubs, shrub roses, different kinds out there. Maybe an aspirea, maybe a potentilla, maybe even a Manhattan. Now, again, depends on what you want in the space that you definitely want to choose wisely. Yes, you can rip them out, but you know why. This is the idea as to why you should do a plan first, right? Have a plan, and this is what you're going to be doing. So when you are consulting with people with a nursery, they'll tell you what you want. Now, this plan right here is to scale. 1 inch right here equals 10 feet. And you can use that ruler, or if somebody else has this, they can use this and they can measure it up. Here it is, right here. Watch. I put that there. I'm going to show you right there. I'm going to put, okay, here is your 0 mark right here. I'm going to do a line right here. It's going to go all the way to 20. I'll mark it real quick. That's your 10. That's your 20 right there. That's your 0 right there. I'm going to mark it right there. Okay. 0 right here, 10 right there, 20 right there. This is your plan. This is the basics of basics as far as design goes. Now, this is obviously meant for something small. If it's a bit more complex, you can definitely ask for more help. But this is something that you can start if you want to. There's different ideas out there that you can get through, say, Pinterest, Instagram, and many others. Now, this right here, it's a little more complex. It is made with a designing program. But even then, you could probably use the back part or the front part of this as an idea. All I'm saying is that you can use this if you wanted to, and you're thinking, hey, I want to do my front yard. It's not very big. I'm going to give it to a friend. They're going to come and help me, so forth and so on. This is something that you can start doing this. I'm going to be putting a bit more stuff in here just to give you an idea. I'm going to say, hey, where is the north, say the arrow for the north-south type of thing. This will help us, especially when we are getting plants. So that's north right there. I'm going to put it there. And the idea behind this is that if you know where the sun pattern is, that's going to allow you to select better your shrubs and trees. There's trees that prefer more sun, some less. Now, here is a little more finished. I've added a few things, rocks, potentially, sizes. I'm telling you, hey, this is 1.5 inches, this is 3/4 inch. You have your suns, your granites, your river rocks. This could be an area of mulch, some perennials. You can definitely look into that, your tree, your sod area. This could be your accent boulder of whatever you want to choose. And maybe even add some more stuff to it. And as I mentioned, this is to scale right here. This is to scale. Having one of those, a piece of paper, a pen, pencil, you could do literally some great stuff. I wanted to show you guys this. That way you guys know how to start. This is 101 landscape design drawing. Now, as I mentioned before, the idea behind this is that you have this and you can use it. Now, every style, there's too many styles. You can do whichever you like, and especially in your area. Make sure that you kind of start with that. What is your area? What thrives in this area? Should I ask somebody in the nursery? Should I talk to somebody that knows about maybe even the type of materials that we have available in my area? Yes, and yes. Talk to them. They'll be very helpful. Even online, there is such a thing as areas or pages where you can go and insert your zip code, and it'll tell you what are the best things that potentially grow in your area. Now, that's a very useful tool that you guys can use. And obviously, do research before you start doing any of this. But here is just some tips. I hope some of this stuff helps you guys. What do you guys think? Like it? Maybe like, maybe sub. Sure.
Okay, so you guys are back, right? So these are some of my ideas. Now, this is basics of basics 101, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. These are some of the things that you guys can use in order to start your own ideas going, flowing, and potentially something that you can use if you were to design something, a little basic, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you grab this and give it to somebody else that's helping you guys, and it would be to scale, which is very important, especially if they're your ideas, but you're having others to help you. Now, as I mentioned in the video already, definitely get some help from local, say, nurseries. They're gonna tell you what's gonna grow best in your area, from trees, shrubs, and perennials. The whole idea behind that. Also, the materials are gonna be different depending on the part of the country that you're in. From the rock, as far as if they're river rocks and granites and so forth, even the type of wood mulch if you decide to use some of those. Thumbs if you like it, subs if you loved it, and don't forget our motto, which is Dream, Design, Create. Stick around and we'll have more videos like this for you. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.